Alright, boys, let's get right into it. Max Nolan, MagicStronghold.com, M15, Greatest Course Set Ever, Part 2. Today we're going to be talking about Flavour and about the guest designers and why that's so great. So the art in the set, the feel of the set is incredibly well done. It really captivates you, absorbs you into playing it, which is what Flavour is supposed to be. When they came out with Innistrad, they really nailed it, and they found out how important it is for players to be invested in not necessarily the storyline of Magic, but the feel of it. So it looks like they're trying to run home with that, and so I'm going to go over a few cards that really sort of stand out. The first one here is Dauntless River Marshal, which, by the way, I think is going to get played in Standard. You know, it's a interesting looking character, and to even build on that more so, we've got Jalera here. And there's just something about the way that it's done that, just, I don't know, it seems more interesting than previous art. And it's not just the quality of the art, I just think the art director really put the artists on a good path. Some other good cards with some good flavor. Shaman of Spring, again, it's a card that you look at and it gets you interested because, I don't know, maybe the elf is cute. Who cares? Point is, there's something about it that makes you want to enjoy the feel of Magic. Life's Legacy is another really just cool, neat art. Makes you want to look at the card, makes you want to enjoy it. Soul of Innistrad, and we're going to go over all the souls here. And this is really where the flavor gets knocked out of the park. They've, tried to have throwbacks to previous sets before in stuff like Future Sight, rather all of Time Spiral Block, and no one really cared for it because we don't want everything to be old. That's sort of what the change in core sets is about, is it's new stuff. But they're giving just a little bit of a dedication here to the older sets. And I really think that all the souls are kind of cool, and if you're a new player, it kind of gets you curious, like, oh, what was Innistrad? What was Zendikar? What was Ravnica? So that, if you're an older player, or even a relatively new player, it sort of gives you that nostalgia feel without, drowning you in it. And if you're a new player, then it piques your curiosity. It makes you want to know sort of what's going on in Magic. They've got the 6 souls. There's Soul of Innistrad, Soul of Ravnica, and you'll notice they've all got really cool art. They're really prominent figures. Soul of Chandelar. Chandelar is where Conspiracy took place. It's also the name of a Magic game, a computer game, from 1995. And it's very confusing that they've come back to that, but they have, for whatever reason. And they're possibly alluding to the fact that we might see more of it, which would be great. Now we've got the Soul of Theros, which, and you take a look at this art, and it just encompasses Theros so well. That's the sort of the beauty of some of these, and especially in the next one, that you look at it and you're like, yeah, that's from Theros. And the fact that they're able to do that is pretty cool. Finally, one more. Soul Zendikar. How could I forget? Such a pretty guy. And yeah, it's just really cool. But there we go. Soul of New Phyrexia. This is what I was getting at. Again, you just know it's from New Phyrexia. And God, everything about this card, just look at it. The art, what it does, the fact that it's a giant artifact creature, it's just so cool. And in my opinion, the only thing that I don't like about the souls, and it's not even really a bad thing, it's personal preference, is that they aren't legends, because it would be kind of cool to be able to use them as commanders. But regardless of that, there are 6 cards in the set that when you heard about them, when you open them, You're just like, yeah, that's really cool. So we've got hot soup here, and I'm going to use this as sort of a segue into the next thing I want to talk about. And a while ago, a few months before spoilers started really coming out, Wizards announced that they were bringing in game designers from outside of Magic to help them make cards. It's really exciting. Now, it's pretty obvious that it was all just a marketing ploy by Wizards, as is everything they do. You know, the article they debuted this information is they showed all the tweets from these designers who are tweeting to thousands of gamers that may have never even played Magic before about how they designed a Magic card. So from a marketing standpoint, great for Wizards. You know, it doesn't hurt us, it helps them a lot. But let's not kid ourselves that this was some creative ploy. It was business. But thankfully we actually gained from it. And getting new players in, other kind of gamers, is just one benefit that Magic has. You know, we always want more people with different perspectives on gaming. Always a good thing to be bringing that into the game. But it also, they've added 12 people to the design team. They only designed one card, but you're just bringing in that outside expertise. And I started with hot soup as the segue, because I'm not sure I've ever seen a more flavorful card. That it's got a great picture that explains what's going on. It's got a great name that explains what's going on, and the abilities just fit with the picture and the name. And I don't think I've ever seen a Magic card be able to pull this off. It's designed by James Ernest. I don't know if he had complete control over the flavor. If he did, clearly demonstrating why he's a game designer. I may have forgotten some of these. I think he is the president of Cheap Ass Games. I can't say for certain, but he is one of the guest designers. He did a great job. Next we've got Goblin Kaboomis. Now I'm not going to list all the guest designers here. I'm only listing the ones that I particularly like. And yeah, another really flavorful card. This is really like someone that likes making video games, likes making cool video games. And Stone Librande, I think, was the designer of Diablo 3. I know that one of the guests was the designer of Diablo 3. I can't remember if it was this one, but it's just such a weird card. And that's another example of these creative minds coming in, adding something to the set. Genesis Hydra, George Fan, who is the designer of Plants and Zombies. And I actually met the composer for Plants and Zombies in a draft at Grand Prix San Jose a couple years ago. And I didn't know who it was, and I hated her because it was the last 8-man draft of the weekend. I was the only judge left running stuff, and she refused to split in the finals. But other than that, she seemed like a great person and makes great music. And again, you look at this card, and it's really cool, and it's kind of Plants vs. Zombies, it's... If someone told me that George Fan was going to be designing a card and asked me to guess what color it was going to be, I'd pick green every time. Maybe green-black for zombie stuff, but, that'd be too obvious. Yisan the Wandering Bard, rather, is, Brian Fargo. I completely forget what he's done. He might have been the director of Fallout, actually. Which, I actually told my girlfriend about this. Is a huge Fallout fan. And I'm like, hey, the lead director of Fallout designed a Magic card. And it really piqued her interest. She doesn't play Magic, but that kind of got her thinking. So that's just a really obvious example of what they're doing here. And this guy was a Commander player. He said, hey, I want to make a Commander card that does blah. And he did it. And that's really cool that they, brought their Magic preferences into their design point as well. And so these guys are probably casual-ish players. So they're bringing, in a unique casual perspective, which is great for Magic. Finally, here I've got Ob Nixilis Unshackled. Again, I'm not 100% sure about who designed this. I think it was an indie game president, but they asked him, why did you design this card this way? And he said, ticked off at people using search effects in Commander. So again, it's another player bringing their unique perspective. Just the fact that you can tell that they brought in extra designers for this, it really improves the flavor of the set. It improves the quality of the set. It just makes everything better. So I'm going to leave it at that. So 2 awesome things about M15. 1, the flavor. 2, the guest designers. I hope that everyone else loves these, because they should. Tune in tomorrow for some more M15 knowledge. Thanks for coming out, guys. I will see you next time.